5 types of people seniors should stop trusting for their peace. Have you ever noticed how, as we grow older, our energy feels more precious than ever before? It's not just the energy that fuels our bodies, our physical strength, our stamina, but something deeper, something more fragile and invaluable, our emotional energy, the patience, the love, the kindness we carry within us. Over the years, we have given so much of this precious energy away, sometimes willingly, sometimes because we felt we had no choice. We have forgiven, we have tolerated, and we have opened our hearts to people who, in return, did not always honor or cherish that kindness. For decades, we have been taught a subtle lesson, that to be kind means to say yes, even when our hearts quietly whisper no. We have believed that being a good person requires us to bend, to give more than we have, and to sacrifice our own peace to keep others comfortable. But what if this isn't the whole truth? What if, especially now, at this beautiful and hard-won stage of life, kindness means something different? What if kindness begins with protecting yourself, protecting the energy you have left, protecting the peace you fought so hard to build? Reaching this chapter of life is a profound gift. It is a blessing that comes with wisdom earned through years of laughter and tears, triumphs and challenges. And with that gift comes a right, your right, to protect your peace fiercely. To recognize that your time, your spirit, and your heart are too valuable to waste on people or relationships that drain rather than nourish you. Today, I want to have a heart-to-heart with you about something often left unspoken. There are certain people you no longer need to be kind to. Not because you have grown cold or selfish, but because you have learned to honor yourself. Because you now understand that true kindness is not about endless giving. It's about balance, respect, and self-care. It's about having the courage to say no when necessary, and the grace to step away from what no longer serves your joy. In this video, we will explore 5 types of people it's perfectly okay to set boundaries with, or even to distance yourself from entirely. My hope is that by the end, you won't just feel permission to protect your life. You'll feel encouragement, empowerment, and love for yourself in doing so. Because protecting your peace is not just self-care, it's self-respect. It's a declaration that your energy is sacred, and your kindness is a treasure that deserves to be given wisely. Type 1. The constant taker. Those who only take and never give. There's a particular kind of person many of us have met, perhaps more than once, someone who never reaches out just to say hello or to share a moment of joy. Instead, their calls and messages always come with strings attached. When you see their name flash on your phone screen, you already know what's coming. Another favor, another request, another moment when they expect you to drop everything for them. It's exhausting, isn't it? For years you might have said yes without hesitation. Maybe it made you feel useful, important, needed. Maybe you feared seeming rude, or you simply wanted to be the dependable one, the rock everyone could lean on. But over time, something subtle yet painful begins to take shape. You realize that your kindness has become an expectation, not a gift. The warmth you offered so freely is met with indifference. The favors you extended without question are taken for granted. Take Linda's story, for example. She's 70, living quietly in a cozy neighborhood, always the first to help. Need a last-minute babysitter? Call Linda. Forgot to water your plants before your trip? Linda will handle it. She was everyone's go-to, the dependable helper who could be counted on without fail. But when her own birthday came around, she barely received a message. When she was sick, battling the flu, no one checked in. The love and care she gave so willingly never returned. That's the cruel reality of the constant taker. They see you not as a cherished friend or beloved family member, but as a service, an endless convenience. And my dear friend, that is not who you are. You are not a service to be used at someone else's convenience. You are a soul, a living story woven from years of experience, laughter, pain, and wisdom. You deserve relationships where love flows both ways, where your kindness is met with gratitude, where your heart is held with the same tenderness you give. Saying no to the constant taker is not selfish. It is sacred. It is the way you protect the precious energy that remains inside you. You don't owe anyone an explanation for your no. You don't have to justify your boundaries or apologize for guarding your peace. When someone only wants to be near you because you keep saying yes, that is not true companionship. It is a one-sided transaction. So if you recognize this pattern in your life, know that it is perfectly okay to step back, to gently but firmly reclaim your time, your energy, and your heart. You are worthy of being loved, not for what you can do for others, but simply for who you are. Type 2. The chronic critic, those who constantly undermine you. There's a quiet, persistent kind of pain that comes not from loud arguments or obvious conflicts, but from the subtle, almost invisible barbs of the chronic critic. They don't shout or insult outright. Instead, their criticism is wrapped in what seems like concern or casual remarks. It's the small, repeated jabs, comments about your clothes, your home, your choices, or even your hobbies, that slowly but surely chip away at your confidence. You might have shrugged it off at first, laughing nervously or telling yourself, that's just how they are. But deep down, those little digs settle like shadows, dimming the light you worked so hard to keep shining. Imagine Walter, an 81-year-old man from Denver, who faithfully visits his cousin every Sunday, bringing fresh bread and stories from his week. Yet every single visit ends with a critique. Your hair looks different today. Or, I thought you had better taste than that. These remarks may seem harmless, even affectionate to an outsider, but for Walter, they became a weight on his chest. Week after week, year after year, the subtle judgments built a wall of doubt and self-questioning. He began hiding his excitement about new projects. He entered those visits not with warmth, but with a tightening in his heart, bracing for the next cutting comment. You have lived too much, loved too deeply, and overcome too many storms to let anyone make you feel less than who you are. You do not owe anyone an apology for being yourself. You should never shrink to fit someone else's narrow idea of who you should be. The chronic critic might pretend it's all in good fun, but their words wound just the same. It is more than okay, it is necessary, to choose distance over discomfort. If you leave a conversation feeling heavier, smaller, or less sure of yourself, it is a sign that your spirit is being drained. And in those moments, choosing peace is not weakness, it is strength. Choosing to protect your soul is an act of courage. You deserve relationships that lift you up, that celebrate your true self, not ones that quietly suggest you're never quite enough. Type 3. The guilt tripper. Those who manipulate through guilt. There is a subtle and heavy kind of pain that often hides behind smiles and quiet sighs. The pain caused by guilt trippers. These are the people who rarely raise their voices or slam doors. Instead, they wield guilt like a quiet weapon, soft but relentless, that slowly weighs down your heart. They don't confront you directly. They rely on silence that lingers a little too long, on comments casually dropped that seem innocent but are heavy with meaning, on looks that freeze the warmth right out of the room. It's a slow, creeping form of manipulation that makes you question your own worth, your own needs, and sometimes even your right to happiness. Take Eleanor, for example. A vibrant 78-year-old with a big heart, she spent years lovingly involved in her nieces' and nephews' lives, sending birthday cards, offering rides, cooking extra in case someone dropped by hungry. But when she gently declined a small request because she had other plans, the response was silence. Then came a message filled with unspoken sadness. I guess I thought family would be there for each other. No blame was spelled out, No yelling, just enough sorrow to make Eleanor's heart ache with doubt. Guilt trippers count on that maybe inside you, that part of you that still wants to be good, to be loved, to be enough. They twist your kindness, your loyalty, your empathy into chains that bind you to their expectations. Before you know it, you find yourself bending, twisting, reshaping your life to avoid that heavy feeling of having disappointed someone. But hear this loud and clear. Your kindness is not a debt to be collected. Your time is not a blank check for others to cash whenever they please. Protecting your peace is not selfishness. It is survival. If someone's love disappears the moment you say no, it was never true love to begin with. It was control dressed as affection. You don't owe anyone apologies for choosing yourself. You don't need to justify your boundaries or beg for understanding. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do, for your soul, for your sanity, is to stop answering the door every time guilt knocks. Stand tall, take a deep breath. Remind yourself that peace isn't something you have to earn. It is something you were born deserving. Type 4. The secret competitor. Those who hide rivalry behind friendship. Not every competitor wears the face of an enemy. Sometimes they come disguised as friends, the ones you've known for years, shared stories with, trusted. But beneath their smiles and applause, there's a quiet rivalry that chips away at your confidence, making you doubt your own worth. Take Doris, a vibrant 75-year-old from Atlanta. After years of putting her own dreams on hold, raising a family, working to make ends meet, she finally found herself in a local art class. It wasn't just a hobby, it was a homecoming to herself. For the first time in a long time, she felt proud, nervous, but full of hope. Then her longtime friend joined the class too. At first, it was comforting to have someone familiar nearby, but slowly, the compliments started to sting. "Your painting is so colorful, very bold for someone your age. I love how carefree yours looks. Shows technique isn't everything." Delivered with a smile, those words felt like backhanded compliments. Gradually, Doris hesitated to show her work, wondering if she was fooling herself. True friends don't measure your achievements against theirs. They don't make you feel like your joy must be rationed so they won't feel small. Real friends are warm fires on a cold night. They celebrate you, encourage you, remind you that your light doesn't dim theirs. It brightens the whole room. When you've weathered storms others can't imagine, you deserve to be surrounded by those warm fires, not cold scoreboards. If someone's support feels like a competition, or their encouragement hides a veiled jab, you have every right to step back. You don't owe explanations or drama. You simply stop pouring your precious energy where it is not welcomed. By doing so, you create beautiful, sacred space for people who genuinely cheer your wins. Those who see one person's success as a sign that good things are possible at any age. It's never too late to rewrite your circle, to choose the company that lifts you, and to claim the joy you've always deserved. Type 5. The passive-aggressive manipulator, those who use indirect attacks. Some of the most damaging wounds come not from outright conflict, but from the silent storms brewed by passive-aggressive manipulators. These individuals rarely say what they truly mean. Instead, they cloak their sharp edges in jokes, sarcasm, or subtle digs that feel like harmless teasing, but leave you questioning yourself. Leonard, an 82-year-old man from Minneapolis, experienced this quietly every day. His neighbor Doug always had a friendly wave and a chuckle, but beneath the surface lurked a sting. Whenever Leonard asked for help, maybe carrying a heavy box or moving a planter, Doug would say with a laugh, "Guess you're finally slowing down, huh?" Or, "I'd help, but I like my knees the way they are." These jokes weren't innocent. Each one planted a tiny seed of doubt. Am I becoming a burden? Am I asking for too much? The power of passive aggression lies in its subtlety. It chips away at your confidence and peace without ever giving you a clear target to blame. You start doubting your feelings, second-guessing your needs, wondering if you're just being too sensitive. And when you finally confront the behavior, these manipulators slip through an escape hatch. They claim you misunderstood, accuse you of overreacting, or laugh it off as a joke. Suddenly, you're left feeling trapped in a cycle, trying harder to please, shrinking yourself to avoid conflict, performing peace at the expense of your dignity. But peace that costs you your self-respect is no peace at all. You don't owe anyone that performance. Not now, not ever. At this stage in your life, your peace is not a prize to fight for. It is a priority to protect. You deserve honest conversations free from traps. You deserve relationships built on sincerity, not games. If someone refuses to meet you there, the most loving act you can do for yourself is to step back. You don't have to fix them, fight them, or explain yourself. Simply reclaim your space quietly and firmly. Let them wonder why your light no longer shines in their direction. Let them notice the absence of your patience and warmth, not out of revenge, but because your gifts are too precious to waste on those who don't honor them. Choosing yourself is one of the most beautiful and powerful acts of kindness you can offer, to yourself above all else. Now that we've explored these 5 types of people, the constant takers, the chronic critics, the guilt trippers, the secret competitors, and the passive-aggressive manipulators, take a moment to check in with yourself. Are any of these patterns showing up in your life? Are there relationships that leave you feeling heavier, sadder, or smaller instead of lighter and joyful? If the answer is yes, I want you to know this. You have the absolute right to step back. You have the unquestionable right to draw a line and say, I choose me. This isn't cruelty. It isn't selfishness. It is the highest form of honoring the years you have walked, the wisdom you have earned, and the soul you have built. As we age, every day becomes more valuable. We no longer have the luxury of wasting time explaining ourselves to people committed to misunderstanding us. We don't owe our time or kindness to those who mistake our generosity for weakness. We don't need to beg for scraps of affection from those who never learned how to truly love. You are allowed to guard your peace like the treasure it is. You are allowed to be kind while holding strong, unshakable boundaries. You are allowed to walk away, not with anger, but with clarity and grace. Sometimes letting go means releasing people who have been in your life for years. And that's okay. The seasons of life change, and so must we. Some people are only meant to walk with us for a little while, teaching us lessons, even the hard ones. Not everyone is meant to accompany us into the beautiful chapters still waiting to be written. Don't be afraid to turn the page. Don't be afraid to choose peace over people-pleasing. Don't be afraid to protect your heart like the precious, irreplaceable treasure it is. When you do, something magical happens. The right people, the ones who love you fully, without condition, competition, or quiet cruelty, will find their way to you. They always do. Because the light of a heart that finally honors itself is impossible to resist. So today, give yourself the kindness you have spent a lifetime giving to others. Listen to that wise, brave voice inside, the one that knows when it's time to close a door and when it's time to open a new one. You are not alone. There is a world full of good people ready to meet you with open hearts and arms. People who see the light in you and never try to dim it. Take that first step. Choose peace. Choose joy. Choose yourself. You deserve nothing less.